Hey folks, what's up, ET? So I got a piece of Novaculite here. It's a slab, obviously, and I just actually noticed that it has a problem here in the tip. And it don't look like it's very deep, but it is a little piece that comes around like that. And that may cause a problem, it may not, I'm not sure. Either way, this is one that I would end up napping anyways, so I wouldn't send it out like that. So anyways, so I got a letter from a customer and a viewer, and Duston, and if you're watching this, Dustin, this one's for you. But he bought some Novaculite slabs and he's having a hard time getting across them, and he's seen the video where I use indirect percussion, but I'm going to try and do one and try to show how I use pressure to get my first flakes all the way across it. This piece is 1 3/4 inches, so most of the time, most of the slabs that you see, knives or whatever, they're only going to be about 1.5 inches, but this was 1 3/4 inches. But anyways, let's get into this and see what we can do, see if we can do any damage. And I usually start by grinding the edge real good. That just allows my copper to bite a little better without slipping off when I'm trying to build pressure. So when you're building your pressure, you don't want that to just slide off there, because you may take a premature short flake. Don't want any premature flaking here. Alright. So our first pass, I'm just going to try and clear the face. That's going to be the plan. And I don't use a hand flaker for this. Now, Dustin mentioned in his letter, he wrote me a very nice letter, which a lot of people don't do that these days, but he said he doesn't do email and he don't do text message, so he wanted to write me a letter, and that was very nice. I appreciate that, Dustin. I won't say your last name and I won't say everything that was in the letter, but I really did appreciate that. But yeah, so we got kind of a sharp tip, not super sharp, but sharp, you know. And one of the main things that I found when I'm trying to clear these faces is I need a pad that's really opened up, right? So this is one of the old pads before I put the metal in the bottom, and I wore all through it, but it's got a huge slot, and that really allows that flake to open up and keep traveling. If you got a real narrow slot, then that can trap the flake and the flake will just stop. So having a pad, or you can do it into a piece of leather also, into a piece of soft leather like this. You can do it that way. I don't do it that way. I like to have a solid, pretty solid. I don't like a lot of bend in it, because if you torque it, you'll break it, right? So a lot of people use leather, but I prefer a pad. In this particular case, a pad with a big slot. And I prefer to have a glove, because this pad is wore out, and I have shoved flakes all the way through this leather and into my hand before. So let's start on the bad side and see if we can. I'm going to start from the tip. Yeah, that just broke on out of there. Well, I think we'll still be alright though. And you want to space your flakes, and this is kind of I'm trying to show you the angle here, but not straight in, but close to it, right? Or I don't know what that angle is, but it's an angle more or less like this, I guess. Whatever angle that is. But you want to plant that in there, you want to space your flakes, and you want to use your legs to really build pressure. And you can see how much that here's the edge of the flake. I want that edge down in there, so this is wide open so that I can take off the flake. And you build the pressure, build, just like that. Now Dustin had mentioned, we're going to measure this. Dustin had mentioned that I think he said he was a newer napper, and what he's done so far is pretty much yeah, that flake went in there 7/8 of an inch. So, and on Obsidian, if you're really laying into it and you want to space your flakes, Obsidian, if you're really laying into it like this, I mean, you can throw a flake on some Obsidian 2 inches, right? The other thing is, when I get these little termination hinges like this, if I can, I pick those off, because if you start getting these terminations here, which this ain't gonna be a problem coming from the other side, but if you start getting those, pretty soon they start stacking up, and your flakes will start getting, because they stop the flake, it'll just start getting shorter in some cases, not always, but in some cases. So I try to pick those off if I can. As far as the bite on the edge, I'm down here about like that, so 1/8 of an inch, something like that, maybe down on the piece. And this is that one didn't go quite as far right there. It will take some finagling around this tip where this piece broke out, I'm sure, but hopefully they don't come to bite us in the end. Pay no attention to those flakes. Normally wouldn't have to do that. I'm just trying to straighten this up some from where we lost that piece. Okay. Now we're going to come back this way. And again, all we're doing with this pass is just clearing that off. You really want to build pressure until it just pops off. When you get down here, you can come up from the bottom. I always do that last. Another advantage of doing that last, they usually come out cleaner, but the other thing is that if you get down to the widest point, whether or not it's a knife towards the base or a point like this, or this could be a knife also, if you do have something that didn't clear coming from the base, usually you can drive those in there and clear it, but it's usually not a problem. I'm going to sharpen up our bit one more time here. You guys know that I usually do a grind over flake. We're not going to do any grinding on this at all. We're just going to nap it just with pressure. That's a lot of pressure building right there, a lot. That would probably be too much for Obsidian. You're liable to snap the piece, but come on. Slipping off there. I had to really send that one. Okay, I should be able to get that to clear off. Sometimes if you got a little thing like that, you can grind that delta down a little bit. Try and take that little ridge in there, see if that'll pop that off. And it didn't. We'll get it though. Okay. So, I don't normally nap like this, so I've had people wanting to know how to do it with see if I can zigzag this thing off. I actually don't need this bigger pad anymore. I just need a regular pad with the steel in the bottom. So I'm going to be out of town for a couple days, so any orders that come in today, I will get them out today, but any existing orders before this was filmed is already out. I guess the key is, and there's not really anything I can tell you other than without being right there with you, is it takes a lot of force to send those across. You know, some materials you can only send a flake across ½ inch or so. Novaculite shouldn't be one of those though. Now if you're just using a hand flaker, well then that's probably a little more of a problem, but because I could not do this with just a hand flaker. It takes an SG stick for me to get that done, and not the little short issue stick. This is the long one. It's 20 inches. We'll see how this turns out. Like I said, I don't normally nap them like this, but a lot of times when you're pressure flaking Obsidian, for me, when I'm pressure flaking Obsidian preforms, I got to be careful not to overshoot it, even if it is 1 3/4 wide or 2 inches wide, depending on the Obsidian, of course. I might fast forward some of this or delete some of this pressure flaking part, I don't know. Or I might just do the whole thing and let you fast forward it if you don't want to watch it. But if you're working slabs, you're probably pretty used to pressure flaking. Nothing wrong with working slabs. It's great use of the material. For me, I like working slabs, but I really love beating on rock, so that's where it's at for me. That's the great thing about this hobby, is lots of different things you can do out there. I've been thinking about, I'm going to play around with some more fog too, I guess. Might have to go visit a fog napper and spend a day or two with them, and I think that would be pretty helpful. Now this started out to be pretty thick slab, probably about 5/16, 3/8 maybe. I have another one cut over there. I can measure it until I forgot to measure it. It's the thickness that I like when working slabs. Well, I don't know what that was, but he was trying to get me. For knives and things like that. My points, I can work them like this, but I prefer, especially on smaller points, I prefer 1/4 inch. That's my preference. Alright, we're going to sharpen this up. I'm going to have to extend that nail out here pretty quick. Now I'm going to start from the tip. And this is going to kind of hopefully start straightening things out a little bit. We're going to flip it over. See, I need to take a flake. Need to take a couple of flakes off this one side just to bring that edge closer to the other side. And brush down like this. That'll bring this edge closer that way. Alright, so now I'll probably scrunch it maybe. Let's try and scrunch it and see if I can bring that edge over. This is a scruncher. I have these available on the website if you Now that brought that edge over this way quite a bit. Just moves the edge a little faster, and because you got this length, it also helps to straighten things out. Alright, now we're going to come from the base. On the opposite side of what we just did. Okay, before I can do this other side, I gotta extend this out. It's a lot of pressure flaking, so this may be an hour-long video. I don't know. Hopefully y'all don't. I know some of you love those long videos, and some of you got the attention span of a goldfish like I do. I can't watch a long napping video. I mean, I'll watch a napping video beginning to end, every one of them. And again, starting from the base. Actually, that needs stiffening up a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm going to be gone for a couple days. I really do need a couple days off. It's not a vacation. My wife's got to be down there for a few days, and I'm going to be by her while she's down there. I actually need to bring this over to straighten up the tip a bit. So let's sharpen this up again. About the further down the line you get on your passes, the sharper you want that to be. A little bit deep bite there. I think it'll be okay, but looking pretty good. It's got a little hinge spot right there, but we still might get that out of it. So I'm mostly just going to be sitting in the motel room for a few days. Heck, I might take some slabs and work on them in the motel. This don't make much of a mess in a motel room. Take a tarp. Flaking's looking okay. It's almost alright. Let's sharpen this dude up again. Just pointy. Gonna come from the base. Yeah, you notice with this metal, there's no wear in this pad at all. I still haven't figured out how long it take to wear through the metal. I mean, eventually it would, but so I can't speak to that, but I need to bring this tip over just a little bit more. So in the first pass, we were all the way across, so that's the most important thing. And now it's just a little convexity and putting some parallel. I don't know if you guys can see the flaking on this piece or not, but it's more or less parallel oblique type flaking, I guess that's what it'd be considered. Some materials are going to show that better than others. pretty. Should we make another pass or just call it good? I wonder. Some thin and flakes going up there from the bottom. Yeah, I might take some slabs with me to the motel. My carpal tunnel won't thank me, but I can already tell I'll be paying for this tonight. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I gotta come from the bottom on this one. I got sidetracked there, and then now I lost where I was at. It shouldn't take that much longer to finish this up, unless I break it. But even with that damaged tip, it still is working out pretty good. There we go, that popped off there good. Still has a little spot there where I'd like to get off there. This point, it's got to have the transverse flaking, or as close as I can get it anyways. I don't do a lot of that, so I thought this would also be an opportunity to practice that. Let's see, I don't know if I should drop down to small flaker or not. Seems to be working fine. there's no right or wrong way in flint knapping. Just, I mean, there's some general rules to go by, but I mean, you're not going to change the physics of it or any of that stuff, but everybody naps a little bit different, you know. And if someone naps a little bit different than you, don't mean they're doing it wrong, it just means that they're doing it different. I said earlier, that's the great thing about this hobby is I know he's stiff enough. I think another pass on this side and then clean up the edge and probably call it good. I'll have to work on that transverse flaking. I don't normally make anything that requires transverse flaking. But I thought since I was doing a video that I could get some practice in on it also. I'll have to watch some videos on doing that transverse flaking. Because I'm gonna order some. Oh, another thing is, I told you all on that hoe video that that hoe cast is at Lithics casting lab, and it's not. It's in Stonehenge. You just put in Stonehenge cast, and you'll come up with the. It's another place that makes casts. I haven't ordered anything from them yet, and actually, I remembered after I did the video that the reason I haven't placed that order is because they're closed for the summer. So last night I thought, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and get those ordered, and then well, heck, they're not even on the. They're not on my order form. What's the deal? And anyways, it's not sure this point's supposed to have a bunch of picking on the edge either, but I'm not going to do anything crazy here. I'm just going to straighten the edge up some. Yeah, I was pretty surprised to get a letter. You just don't. The last letters I was getting is from my grandma, and she passed away not that long ago. People just don't write letters that much, but myself included. It was kind of nice though. I like hearing from y'all. It's the only way I got to know that I'm doing anything right, or that you're enjoying what I'm making, or whatever. I did notice we did hit 1,500 subscribers, so that's good. And I appreciate all of you. All 1,500 of you that hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you a lot. Sometimes when you make a video, you put in a lot of effort, it gets like, you know, a couple hundred views or 300 views or something like that, and you're like, man. I'm not gonna lie, a few times it's gotten discouraging, but then you got videos that, I think I got a couple that's got like 6,000 views or something. I actually have that point. I think my most popular video, I haven't checked in a long time, but I think the most popular one was the whale spear point, Alaska whale spear point. And wasn't the best point I ever made, but it was the most popular, probably because no one's ever done one before, but on video. But I have that point in my keeper case because it was, at least last time I checked, my most popular video, so it's in my keeper case. I'll show you guys my keeper case sometimes. You'll probably laugh at me. It's not all my best work. But they have some significance to me. For this reason or that. Alright, so this thing has got a concave base. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a concave base. It does have one little spot right there that I would love to get off there, but I'm afraid to try and get it. I'm afraid I'll mess my symmetry all up. See it right there? I mean, it looks worse on here than it is, but if I get a flake to run across that, take that dude out, that would be great. I took part of it out for sure. Yeah. There we go. Alright, so let's concave this base. Trying to make a Allen Point from here in Oklahoma, and I don't know if any of them were made out of Novaculite. I didn't look at that, but if they're in Oklahoma, they probably, I'm sure sometime in history there was, because right here near us we got whole mountains of Novaculite. The whole mountain is Novaculite. But ain't none of it nappable. Not on the, you'd have to have an excavator in there and dig down, I don't know however far you'd have to dig down to get the good material that's not freeze cracked and ruined and just decomposed over the last bazillion years. But I'm actually fairly happy with this point. I mean, my different material might have showed that flaking off a little bit more. Might have showed off that I don't know what I'm doing too. Just like everyone else, just trying to make pretty things out of rock. Not always successfully, but you want this to be centered, right? You don't want it to be cattywampus. I think that's plenty deep enough. Let's read on it and see what it says. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to have to piece these pieces on because I just hit the wrong button and everything went away on me. Oh well. Okay, Allen Point. Traditional Paleo, early Archaic. 8500 to 7500 before present. Also see the Augusta, Barber, Browns Valley, Clovis, Galindra, Goshen, McKean, Plainview, lots of points like it, but you can see the transverse flaking on those. I don't know if you can on this one or not. We'll put some oil on it, maybe you'll be able to see it. But it says Midwestern states to Canada, so it covers pretty good area. Named after Jimmy Allen of Wyoming. Description: a medium to large size narrow lancelet point that has oblique transverse flaking and a concave base. Basal ears tend to be rounded and the base is ground. We need to grind our base, and these tend to be round, so which makes sense because this would need to be ground to be hafted well. Alright, let's throw some oil on it. This is the Indian book. These are on the website. This is a cover that I made for it. Got a big old oscillate on there. Alright, let's throw some oil on here. Okay, so I changed my mind and I decided to go with wax. But now I lost the point. What did I do with the point? I've lost the point. Alright, hold on. Okay, we're back on track again. If you're new to the channel, you don't know what the waxing is about, it'll hide any little fingernail hinges, and it's a permanent fix for that. You can do the same thing with oil, but this is a more of a absolute permanent fix, and it makes the stone look more hydrated, and I prefer the look of it. It's not something you need to do, you have to do. Some people would never do it, and that's okay. Some people would never nap a slab either. I'm an equal opportunity napper. It is pretty. It's pretty, I don't care who you are. Alright, well, that's got to cool off and dry. It won't be as shiny when it's dry, but I don't know if you can see the, I guess you can kind of see the flaking there. Oblique transverse is what I was going for. I think we just kind of got it. I could use some more work on that, but that's our point, and I appreciate y'all watching. And Dustin, I hope that helped a little bit. I don't know if it will or not, but I'm gonna send you this point, buddy. I really do. I really appreciate that letter you sent. You had some very kind words in there, and I really do truly appreciate that. And I'm gonna send you this point, and I'm also gonna send you a couple other goodies. So you know, Dustin didn't ask for a thing other than advice, and he's a good dude. I can tell just by reading the letter, and this is coming to you, bud. I'll get this sent out. I'll put it together and I'll send it out today, actually, so it goes out before I leave, and I'll sign it, and you can have it, throw it away, or shove it through a Mastodon. Whatever you want to do with it, it's yours. So, all right, I appreciate y'all, and y'all keep napping, and hit that like and subscribe button if you would. I'd really appreciate that, and we'll keep moving forward here. And we just did a giveaway, so I was thinking about doing a giveaway at 1,500, and we still may do a 1,500 subscriber giveaway, but we might put it off for a little bit. I really need to get caught up in the leather shop, and I need to spend a week. I got piles of rock here that need to be bifaced. 3-4 guys could sit here and biface for 3 or 4 days and probably not make it through all the stuff I got to get through, and a lot of it's just little stuff and stuff that I'm gonna biface a whole bunch of it. I'm probably gonna box up some of it and sell some clunker boxes and things like that, but I got to get through this material. It's taking up my entire shop, so it just keeps adding up here, and I just haven't had time to deal with it. But appreciate y'all watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Y'all keep napping.